Thank you for all you do. Well, this presentation takes a slightly different track from yet for a person touched by cancer, or for that matter, someone with any serious illness, or their caregivers, spirituality can result in a deepening connection, an intimacy. We heard that word before, an intimacy with oneself or others, to God or a higher power, to nature, often producing a sense of peace or satisfaction. Spirituality can be a source of guidance and strength, comfort and hope. Now, for those who don't know me, I'm a member of the club that nobody wants to join. That's right. Fortunately, with 3 different touches with cancer, I've had the medical expertise and concern and support of Dr. E, who's helped to see me through. And for that, I'm very, very grateful. I'm sure so many of you are too, correct? Okay. And so let's take a look at spirituality and the healing and dying process. This talk is an abridged version of the paper that will become a chapter in a book that we're writing. I've led a good life. What did I do wrong? Why is this happening to me? This or that idea that somehow is I'm being punished for something that I did or didn't do are often the first words those dealing with people touched by cancer hear. For others, however, the realization of their spiritual side only becomes real at a time like this. People can get so caught up in the world that questions about life and death have no meaning for them. But as the saying goes, there are no atheists in a foxhole. And cancer can certainly call forth all the fear, the uncertainty, and anxiety one would face in a foxhole. Ask 5 people to define spirituality, however, and you'll get 5 different answers. Many people find spirituality through religion or through some personal relationship with God. Even if they don't practice a particular religious faith, they will still sense that they have a spiritual core. They may find it through a connection to nature, through some soothing music and art, perhaps the seashore, or a walk in the country, or meditation, yoga, or a set of guiding principles or values. All right, that's all well and good, but is this something we just simply made up? Something that we hope for that will be real, that really isn't? Let's take a look at our medical profession and see what they have to say about the role of spirituality. And in fact, there's an increasing body of research that shows spirituality and religion can play a vital role in helping people cope with cancer, both mentally and physically. For example, Reich and his associate in spirituality and medical practice report that there's a positive relationship between religious commitment and mental and physical health, and found in up to 84% of the studies they looked at. It included a religious commitment was helpful in the prevention of illness, including depression, substance abuse, and physical illness, in coping with illness and recovery from illness. Dr. Koenig, in his work, The Healing Power of Faith, talks about the significantly lower levels of interleukin, which rises with unrelieved chronic stress. High levels of IL-6 reflect a weakened immune system, which in turn increases the risk of infection, disease, and certain cancers. And Matthew and Larson's say that patients with strong religious commitments recover faster, live longer, or cope better in 7 out of 8 studies of cancer, 4 out of 5 studies of high blood pressure, 4 out of 6 studies of heart disease, and 5 out of 7 studies of general health. Dr. Matthews, also an internist, says that after a review of 200 published studies linking religion and health, he found that 75% revealed a positive relationship. There's a positive relationship between spirituality and health. Dr. Levin in his book, God, Faith, and Health, says that faith benefits physical and mental health by promoting hope, optimism, and positive expectations, which are by definition functions of faith. Yet, although 77% of the patients would like spiritual issues considered as part of their medical care, only about 10 to 20% of the physicians discuss these issues with their patients. But things are changing. In the nursing homes and in the hospitals, the accrediting agencies are now looking at them and they're asking, where is that component, that pastoral care component? So in our great hospital here in town, we have a pastoral care department. There's over 75 pastors and another 75 ministers of different sorts that are serving the population in that hospital. I worked on part of that wonderful team. And in the nursing homes, you're finding the same thing. The doors that were shut, thought that these are kind of intruders and we have to deal with them, tolerate them, turned around to be, welcome. We're part of an important team because that's a part of our lives too. We're more than a person, than a physical body in a bed. And this research supports the value of that to the healing process. Let's take a look at some of our survivors and caregivers and see what they have to say. And what we find is, in my conversations with them, that they also support the research that I just showed you, the medical research I just showed you. Dana Taylor had a brother who died. Many of you may know her, because she was a part of our organization. And she talks about her belief system. It might not be your belief system, but it does show a searching for that spiritual component and the value of it to her. So she does a lot of praying and meditating. Sometimes she says, my mind is so busy meditating, it may mean just the ability to listen to the birds conversing. Maybe not your way, but it's you talk to people and you find there's that spiritual core out there that's emanating from them, that's searching for that piece of themselves as they deal with issues. So why is this component of Croc's survivorship model? It will take many more years of study to understand exactly which aspects of spirituality hold the most benefit for health and well-being. And while few studies at present suggest that people with cancer will live longer, a lot of research indicates that you might live better, and that your quality of life may be higher, and that your sense of well-being may be greater. While Croc is non-denominational, activities that can enhance spirituality like art, yoga, hiking and biking, and other activities like that, humor, journalism, journaling, healing stories of others and hearing stories of others and your own, music, meditation, dance, poetry, guided imagery, and visualization, enjoying a meal with others like we have tonight, touched by, and serving others who have been part of the Croc model. All these things have been part of the wonderful Croc model that Dr. E. Nelly started 14 years ago. It allows for caring and a hopeful, positive outlook and a better quality of life, even when a cure is not possible. Listening is one of the most powerful gifts any person can offer. For those who are touched by cancer, who express their feelings of anger, concern, anxiety, frustration, or hopelessness, we have the Open Circle, a support group that has been part of the Croc model and Croc meetings. These activities can have a large effect on boosting the spirits of people who can feel so overwhelmed. Being touched by cancer, either as one who has it or as a caregiver, is becoming a part of a club that nobody wants to be a member for. Perhaps sharing experiences of those touched by cancer might enable you to seek their own answers and find faith to sustain them in their own suffering or the sufferings of someone they care for. In talking with those touched by cancer in the Croc community, I found the following. Sickness can force us to search the depths of our being, where we find God in His dwelling, faithful presence. Tests and numerous medical procedures become less frightening because they were never alone. God was there with them. God wants to heal and comfort and restore in you and through you. And sickness can lead to better things. You commit to making a better life for yourselves and others. Another survivor put it this way: I learned that spirituality was experiencing the presence of something supernatural. My relationships changed dramatically, becoming more optimistic, less than despairing, and realizing all will be okay, meaning okay whether I survive or not. I was at a point of acceptance. In my journaling, MJ said, either end my life or if I live, help me to help others. Her crisis with cancer led her to come to terms with what she truly believed. Her comfort with various religions influenced her spirituality. It led her to go out of herself and concentrate on others and their deeds. In doing so, she develops a spirituality that emphasizes being grateful to be alive and seeking to show acts of kindness to others. She values her newfound crisis work with others touched by cancer and stays positive by staying with positive people. The great struggle in dying is letting go of a great life here. Daily meditation at the beginning and end of her day, with time spent in remembrance of the people she has met and enjoyed life with, help to support her spirituality. And then we have Tony speaking again. I give more time to meditation, and spirituality has become more part of my life. I'm kinder to myself, more forgiving and self-accepting. I go through days not wanting to hurt others. And lastly, Alan says, my experience has led to a greater gratitude from saying that I trust God to really living that trust in all that happens. All these people searching, all these people finding in different ways to manifest that spirituality. Well, our friends at the Cancer Care Centers of America have put out some tips for nurturing spirituality through cancer care. And in the documents that they put out, they give us an entire range of ways that we can manage and nurture our spirituality. Perhaps for some, it's to focus your thoughts through prayer, meditation, relaxation, and so on. Perhaps for others, it's to seek out the scriptures. For others, it may be seeking out a trusted friend. Or for others, a church or a temple. Or still for others, other ways. And each one they talk about, here's an opportunity, something that might resonate with you, and something that you could do to develop, to grow that particular spirituality that does resonate with you. Despite the quality of our religious life, there is suffering in life. Questions surrounding our death and what happens after death can plague our spirits. So a strong religious faith does not guarantee we will not suffer spiritually. It's only human to question a God who is supposed to be forgiving, loving, understanding, and will always be there for us. But this very distress can help us see who we are and why we are here. Let's look at some insights by some folks that work with people in this condition. Carl Jung said once, you can get through just about anything if you can find meaning in it. And then another practitioner said, the dying experience can teach the living the meaning to their living and dying. Survivors can be enriched by the example, love, and wisdom of those who have gone before us, which will continue to guide us on our own journey. It can lead us to reach within ourselves and reach out to others in ways that would not be otherwise possible. Serious topic. People have done some real thinking about that. And As we continue with our journey, we see a priest who's done a lot with hospice say spirituality can give a person perspective not otherwise possible. It helps them and their loved ones make sense out of, provide hope for what lies ahead. And the hospital chaplain, that which gives life, that which gives life, that which gives life's ultimate meaning is death. The beginning of life is that which gives meaning to life is death. Chris Burley, a hospital nurse that deals with many patients in their end stages of life, says, hospital nurses who have worked with dying patients mention how peaceful most deaths are. It's a time of reflection and reconciliation and strengthening their beliefs in the hereafter. So many people do turn to the spiritual at times like that. And it's not a bad thing. All right, well, Deacon Trapani, he's the chaplain at the hospital. He's the one that runs the pastoral care program for the 150 people that are involved in pastoral care across all religious lines. He says the human condition causes us to move between hope and fear, bitterness, and anger at times like this. Through spirituality, we can accept and understand God's care and concern for us and be given the energy to handle even this situation. And then Bernie Siegel, working with people who are living with cancer, has formed these groups called CCAP groups. And one group member once said to him, fatal isn't the worst outcome. And Siegel adds, not living is the worst outcome. Fatal isn't the worst outcome. Not living. Not living in the day. You know, the day that you have and appreciating, seize that day. You've heard that saying. Sometimes it's used in different ways. But on my little card, I've got that saying, seize the day. That's to remind you, be present for the moment. People you're in touch with, situations you're dealing with. Now, let's take a look at some other folks who are not the experts caring for somebody, but the people themselves who are dealing with these end times. Inmate 96B2265, for the past 35 years of his life, was in prison. During his last 5 years, he faced the challenge of cancer, increasingly taking its toll on him. This testimony, which was written by him in his last days, attributes the importance of spirituality in a dying person's life. I've taken a portion of that in the interest of time. He says, am I fearful of dying? From a physical point of view, of course I am. Who wouldn't be? Spiritually, I'm at peace. Pain and suffering comes and goes, but blessings are forever. What I do know is that death does not distinguish the light. Rather, it puts out the lamp because dawn has come. He died about a year ago after being transferred upstate to a prison ward in Albany. Those were some of his last words that were transcribed. And got a legacy there. So, Tony, a cancer survivor, says, I believe that I'm the luckiest person in the world. I have everything I ever hoped for and more. This is at the point when she thinks I'm gone. Interestingly enough, I didn't say that in the past tense. I really think the best is yet to come. Well, for Tony, she was given one more chance to make it real, or maybe even more than one. And there she is over there. God bless you. And thank you for sharing your most intimate journal and your thoughts at a point in life when you thought that was going to be your legacy. It's helped us. It certainly has. Here's another example. Eddie is a young lady who died in the Jewish concentration camps. You may have heard of her. You know of Anne Frank, of course. Died at 14. Well, this lady was a little older. She was in her 20s. But she wrote just as eloquently about death, dying. By looking death in the eye and accepting it, by accepting destruction as a part of life and no longer wasting my energies on fear of death or the refusal to acknowledge its inevitability. It sounds paradoxical. By excluding death from our life, we cannot live a full life. By admitting death into our life, we enlarge and enrich it. Now, we could probably talk hours on any one of these books, if time permitted. Well, everything that lives dies. The question is, how well are we going to live? Every stage of life brings difficulties. Every stage of life presents possibilities also. Instead of asking why, as mentioned in the beginning, spirituality leads us to ask how. How have we changed? How are we more loving, more kind, more patient, more generous, more trusting? And what has been the blessings in this situation? Life is like a rainbow. Part rain, part sun, part shower, sorrow and part joy. Every stage of life brings difficulties. Every stage of life also presents possibilities. The question is, how well are we going to live it? How well are we going to live it? If the Croc survivalship model has given its members the possibilities and the opportunities to live a life affirming and enhancing the spiritual dimension in each of us. It can assist in maintaining strength and acceptance no matter what's ahead for us. Life isn't uncertain. Life is uncertain. Live it fully. Live in the moment. Thank you.